Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Shanice and welcome to Simply Niqua. So for today's video, I have an awesome nail tutorial for you guys. I'm going to do some little different Christmas nails this year. So this first one I'm going to do is the Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh yes, very nice. So I'm so excited to do these nails this week for you guys. So if you want to watch me do them step by step, go ahead, sit back, relaxing to watching. Also, before you continue watching, go ahead down below and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give this video a like as well whenever you feel like it throughout the video. But other than that, let's get started with this video. So for today's video, to get started, we're going to begin with a base coat on some of the nails. So on the pinky, I started off with a black base coat, and I want to apply 2 coats of that. And the black that I used was LA Colors Color Last Onyx, and yeah, just plain old black. Apply 2 coats. Then for the middle finger and the ring finger, I'm going to use a multi-chrome purple, which the purple that I used was from Holo Taco, and it's called Purple with Envy. And with this purple, I applied about 3 coats on these nails. So each nail is going to have something a little bit different that goes along with the Nightmare Before Christmas. So for the pinky, I'm going to start off with an easy nail to do, which is just going to be some white stripes onto that black. So the white that I used was from LA Colors Color Last, and that was called Evermore. And I used a liner brush to make some vertical lines down the nail from the cuticle. Then I as well cleaned up the white lines with that black again, the Onyx black that I used as the base to clean up the lines to make everything look perfect. Now I went on to the index finger. For the index finger, Sally, she had this like quilted kind of look dress. So I'm going to replicate that quilted pattern onto my index finger. So to begin this quilted pattern, I want to map out the different areas for the different colors. So I used that black, the LA Colors Color Last Onyx, to map out the different sections for the different parts of the quilted pattern. Once all that outlining was done, I'm going to go in with the base colors of that dress. And so I start off with this kind of like blue-green color, and I used Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails Xtreme Wear color in a Jazzy Jade, and I apply that into those specific sections. Once I was done with that blue-green color, Jazzy Jade, I went in with a yellow, and I applied this yellow, the LA Colors Color Last, and it's called Upbeat, and I applied that yellow into those specific sections as well. Then I went in with a pink, and from the reference picture that I have, it was a more like purple pink. So I used a pink that I have from P2 Volume, and it's called Assisted Awesome, and I apply that into those specific sections. And then lastly, there was just a black section, so I colored that in with that black that I had been using LA Colors Color Last Onyx, and I applied that in that box section. Now looking at the reference picture as well, there's a ton of black details that I need to apply within those sections of the colors and everything, and even like hash marks that make that quilted look on the edges of the sections as well. So I used the same black I've been using, the LA Colors Color Last Onyx, to do so. I had to draw some lines, some thicker lines, some dots, some hash marks on the different sections, so I did that as well.
The memories keep me together. Gotta fight till the end, no pressure, no pressure. And I find it hard to say no to the ones who want something better, to the ones who never say never. You'll be be my pleasure.
And then a little bit on the last section, there was like some gray stripes on the yellow, which you might not really see on the camera, but I did that as well. So I used, for that was Sally Hansen's Insta-Dri, and that was called Show Stealer. And this was also a good time to fix up any of the lines that if I got any color onto the black to make everything precise and look awesome. Next is the thumb, and it's that big old moon scene. So I'm going to start off with the moon color, and so I went in with a yellow, the LA Colors Color Last Upbeat yellow, and made a big circle onto my thumbnail with a liner brush.
The memories keep me together. Gotta fight till the end, no pressure, no pressure. And
once I perfected that circle, I went in with a purple for that other swoop that's always in front of the moon. And so I used the Holo Taco Purple with Envy and color that in, and I did about 2 coats for that yellow and that purple section. Once those 2 sections were perfected how I wanted, then around the edges of the tip of the thumb and around the edges of the cuticle, I filled that in with the black LA Colors Color Last Onyx, and filled about 2 coats for that black to make it very opaque, and you get this beautiful moon scene that you always see that was from the Nightmare Before Christmas. Now to the hard part of these nails, because there's a lot of detail and you have to be really precise. To put on top of that purple envy from Holo Taco, I want to apply this nice like purple glitter on top, but I think I should have waited to the end before I started painting the 2 characters onto the nails. But I did beforehand, but I did use that purple, which was from LA Colors Color Craze, and it was called Sugar Plum Fairy, and I applied that around the 2 characters. You might see that some of that glitter on that now, but also I waited to apply some of that at the end as well. I started out with their half of their face shape and their neck area, and so I started with Sally, and I used a like light blue minty kind of color from Salon Perfect, and that was called Icy Haute, and I just made a half kind of like circle and their neck shape and filled that in with 2 coats. And since it's just half of the face, I wanted to make sure they all lined up. I lined up my nails, so when I used the white, the LA Colors Color Last Evermore, I made sure the circles are the right sizes. And then once I made this shape half of his face and neck, I filled that in with 2 coats as well. So now the base coat of all of that is done. Now this is basically the self-explanatory, just like make their faces is all just one kind of color that you have to use was black, so that's even great. With Sally, you had to use red for her hair, and then with her eye, and then red for her lips. So the red that I used was LA Colors Color Last Captive, and then I use a more like a blue-green color for her like markings on her neck that you see that's like stapled and sewn in. So I used Salon Perfect Talk to the Hand for that kind of detail around her mouth and on her face and around her neck. In her hair, to give it some depth from that red, I also used a pink, which I used from LA Colors Color Last, and it's called Love, to give it some highlights in the hair to give the hair some definition, and then also streaks of black in there to give it some more definition as well, to make it more look like hair. I made the bow around his neck and the little things that like stick out from his collar. That is his collar, but I also gave some white highlight marks onto those areas as well, so they can like stand out when you see it on the nail. And I as well filled in like the shoulder part area for Sally, and filled in that color blocking section of her clothes. And it's just, you just take your time and dissect every little part. Once I was done with all of that, I went back in with that purple glitter, that LA Colors Color Craze Sugar Plum Berry, and I filled like a second layer of that glitter on around those two characters. Once I was done with all of that exhausting work and beautiful things that happened, I was ready to apply my top coat. The top coat that I used was a fast drying one from Salon Perfect, and it's their quick dry high gloss top coat, and I applied that to all of the nails. So you guys, what do you think about my Nightmare Before Christmas nails? I really enjoyed doing these, and I really loved the outcome and loved how they look. So if you like these nails as well, go down below and give this video a like, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel for other nail tutorials that I do, and you don't want to miss out next week's Grinch nail tutorial. It's a different type of Christmas this year for nails for my channel, so I'm excited to do that. So subscribe so you don't miss out. But other than that, thank you so much for watching and clicking on this video, and I'll catch you back next week. Bye.